With this signal, and with some of the most remarkable faces and voices in Kenya's television history, a journey began.
Kenya Television Network, the first privately owned television station in Kenya.
This is the story of the Kenya Television Network. A story born in 1990, one that changed the face of television forever. A story that opened minds and opened doors for private television in Kenya. To understand our beginning, we return to a modest corner office at Nyayo House, where 35 years ago, a revolution in Kenya's media landscape was born. Channel 62 went on air, ushering in a bold new chapter in broadcast journalism. Not state-owned, not scripted by the government, but daring, unfiltered, and sharp.
KTN was the first ever private media station. I mean, when we are talking about media station, I mean like, producing news and programs. And so they are the pathfinders. They are the pioneers. You cannot take that away from them. You know, whatever you mention when you talk about the media landscape, KTN comes up. All these others came after KTN.
I came to KTN as an intern, and we were happy to be learning in this new station. The station was just about a year old, and so everything was just brand new. They were still navigating through how do they go about being a private station, carrying information that the national broadcaster wouldn't do. So it was a different kind of a ball game.
1,000 people, while an estimated 1% of Kenya's population was displaced.
But just as Kenyans were beginning to hope that...
It's like a breath of fresh air. There was extreme dedication within the journalists, you know. They had that fire, let's go for it. And it felt good to be in a group of people who are extreme professionals and dedicated to their line of work. And that was a big change from, one government broadcaster, KBC, and the first private news network in Kenya. So it was, like I said before, a breath of fresh air.
These were not just journalists. These were pioneers, architects of an era. They built a brand that stood for truth, courage, and fearless innovation, setting the standard for journalism across Kenya's media landscape.
We were the pioneer newsreaders. That particular population would have taken in Sami Lui, the Honorable Raphael Tuju, myself, and much younger broadcasters like Catherine Kasavuli, who joined, and doubtless you have a record of what they did.
Among the leaders already in South Africa and...
It was a group of professionals who really tried their best to, have a new culture, to be able to broadcast what ordinarily KBC would not be able to cover because, working within the context of a very restricted civil service bureaucracy. KTN had that freedom.
Our news was interesting. It was the first time that we started our news without mtukufu rais, and that was unusual because people are used to, the order of news was known. It is head of state. It was, it's really top down. KTN, we just followed the news, and we did quite a bit of that, following the news as it was.
KTN viewers watch and learn about stories and issues that would not normally receive the attention of international news agencies.
The state was not happy with the fact that we were able to go out and tell stories as they were, without any without any input or interference from them. And so it was dangerous. We were followed, our phones were tapped. And at that time people were detained just for having a different opinion of what the state was saying. So it was a dangerous time, but also a fulfilling time.
Christine Goku, KTN reporting.
In the country, there was the push towards political multipartism. At the time, Kenya was a one-party state, and there was this group of people who wanted to be allowed to create and form other parties, and that was difficult because when we cover them, where do we air it?
Kwa hivyo itatangazwa kutoka katika kila kituo. We had this infamous mlolongo lining up in party nominations of KANU, and somebody would count 1, 2, 3. This is the 100 on this line supporting this candidate, and 20 on this line supporting this candidate, and then they just declare the person who has got 20 has got more. And what was important is who was writing. They would just say a lie as to who has won. Now, with the advent of, TV stations, now in this case KTN, which was free, if they would be able to take a picture of the number of people who are on the line. And remember that time there was no, cell phones with cameras. So KTN was probably the only independent media house which could show the picture of what actually happened at that particular moment in time. So it had that advantage.
KTN introduced a new reporting angle, a private angle which said, you know what, we are going to tell the truth. And that truth was being told by KTN. For instance, Sabasaba, they counted 8 bodies. But the government was telling us there were only 2 people who died in Sabasaba. But KTN said no, they counted 8 bodies of people who were shot in Kamkunji. So that KTN kind of led that, you can tell the truth.
As we look back, we remember the defining stories of the 1990s, the tense 1992 multi-party elections.
The future of Kenya, not the history of Kenya.
No more grabbing! No more grabbing!
The Green Belt Movement demonstrations to save Karura Forest, led by the late Professor Wangari Maathai.
Our forefathers shed blood for land. We will do so. This is my blood.
The harrowing August 7th, 1998 U.S. Embassy bombing. KTN was there, breaking news at home, making headlines across the world.
As a newsreader, one was very apprehensive of announcing that a new political party had been formed to go into opposition, to go against President Daniel Arap Moi, and that was a party formed by President-to-be Mwai Kibaki. But I remember very vividly at the time that my producer, we were taking a bold step in making that announcement because the government was very much anti. I also remember that to interview President Moi at the time was something of a big deal. I do believe that I was the only journalist ever to have interviewed him face-to-face in his perhaps 25 years in power. So it was a big interview and it was a big deal, and people turned to KTN as the station to watch.
We were young, we had the energy, we had the courage, and we found ways to do it in a way that, it was professional. So if you had the state saying the apple is red and someone says not an apple, it's an orange, but you put them together and each one of them gives their reasons, an objective way of looking at the story, then they realize that professionalism is what is needed.
It's KTN who champions, KTN who opened L's, KTN who opened the way, KTN who told the world and Kenyans at large that actually you can talk about the president, that you can say things about, that you can tell people about what's happening on the ground. You can tell people about what is, what is wrong in government. It's KTN.
The response from the viewers was absolutely amazing, because we would go to the crux of the story. It was all factual. It was daring journalism at its best.
With every broadcast, KTN wasn't just reporting. It was influencing the national conversation. From the corridors of power,
hatujui ni kwa nini,
to the voices in the streets, KTN listened, documented, and delivered, even amidst challenges that stood in their paths.
One time KTN News was shut down. We were not allowed to tell our stories. We were not allowed to report on the news for 1 year, because the owners then, the shareholders, thought that news wasn't important, that all they could do was put on, entertainment programs, and people will watch the station. So there was always that tension between being able to do your job properly and at the same time juggling the various interests that would not like to see that happen. But it was an exciting time.
The equipment was very cumbersome, because you would need a crew. You cannot, like now, you two guys, you and you Lydia and Biwot. No, there you'd have 5 people, because the cables themselves were heavy, the recorders were heavy, the batteries were heavy. So you had to literally, you are carrying as a luggage like you're traveling. So to go to cover an event, you had to, but like for instance for KTN, you had to, the driver had to be involved. Everybody on the producer, the news reporter, everybody had to involve to carry that equipment.
It was a good time to be in media, because media then was actually media. And KTN definitely bore the cross of being responsible in terms of how their journalism worked. Looking at the way now the headlines are being done and the way the news bulletins are being done, I think that aspect of being bold, the ethos that was there in 1990 when it first started as a station, I think it's coming back, and it's come back very, very well, given the current times we are politically, economically, socially, and things like that.
It was just a nice flow, just watching them do the work. And that's why most of them, they've grown into good positions today. Kai and all these other journalists who went out to go abroad, and they've really done well for themselves. And it's really an honor for me to be able to say that I worked with them. Solomon Mugera, Linus Kaikai, and Beatrice Marshall, Christine Guku, Masio Buru, Lydia Manyasi, just to mention a few.
Well, I certainly discovered this firsthand when we visited a magnificent forest that is a living museum of traditional culture.
Alongside the news came shows that sharpened fearless talents in broadcast journalism.
Welcome back, guys. That's just a really cool video.
Club Kiboko, launched in 1990s, became a generation's childhood champion.
It was also
Who's smarter now?
The stage, to start us off with her good energy.
Who's Smarter Now lit up living rooms with laughter and competition.
Nipige kuwa nini? Kuwa wewe si raia wa Namibia.
And countless other shows proved that KTN could in fact inform and entertain.
KTN came for the first time as a 24-hour station. Never mind the fact that we were doing rebroadcasts, right? But still, 24 hours. In 24 hours, you would get to watch a signal.
To date, we continue this legacy.
Rolling.
The technology has changed. From black and white screens to high-definition streams, from a single channel to a global platform, from analog to digital media.
Who's there? It's me. Today, I welcome you to the evolution of art.
The heart of KTN, the pulse of its storytelling, has never stopped beating.
And the Secretary Generals to join in.
Let me tell you, the broadcasting landscape has really changed. I came into this industry when the industry was transitioning from those reel to reels, and then we moved on to such huge cameras, the Umatics tapes, and then, until the digital transformation, it has really revolutionized the way we conduct our business. A long time ago, when you went to the field, for instance, if I was in Sudan or in Somalia, I had to wait to come back, even if it's after a week, to start filing stories. But you see, today, with the technology that we have reporters going out and filing their stories real time. So the digital transformation in the industry has really changed. For those of us who saw it at the beginning until where we are today, it has made work easier, I think, and better.
If information remains true, even if you go outside there, people will still be doubting whatever that is coming up, like the social media. They will still be coming to ascertain, to authenticate their whatever news that they have gotten from outside. And that means if you remain constant and you continue giving the bold and truth dissemination of information outside there, will remain consistent. The only thing that will just change is the technological aspect and the use of space and how you put your information outside there. But the brand itself, it has been strong, and I still believe the brand will still have to remain for time to come.
Miaka 35 tangu kuanzishwa kwa kituo cha Channel 62, wakati huo bila shaka mabadiliko mingi yameweza kushuhudiwa.
The voices may change, the faces may evolve, but the signal remains. From Nyayo House to millions of screens across the globe, KTN has been a witness, a pioneer, a voice.